Are all contracts binding, especially given a marriage? Here we're talking about today is YouTube sensation, YouTube ridiculousness, YouTube
Jackass.
I want to use other choice words, but that is the best choice word to use for this podcast. Jack Doherty. If you don't know who Jack Doherty is, he is a 21, 22-year-old
content
idiot
creator, yeah.
That he just goes and does manipulative videos. He goes above and beyond to really make a scenario disgusting or terrible. Recently, a few months ago, they were driving his McLaren. He was in the passenger seat, he was driving it. He's live streaming, and they get into an accident. And his friend, who clearly needs medical attention, he's worried more about the car and live streaming his friend, who's clearly probably has at least a concussion, if not worse, and broken bones, and could have possibly even been dead. I mean, there's a lot of hate out there against him, and rightfully so. But more or less, what we're here talking about today is Jack Doherty and his ex OnlyFans superstar, McKinley Richardson. Now, they were in a relationship for a little bit. Supposedly, McKinley did not get into the OnlyFans community before Jack. He actually invited her. He encouraged her to start her OnlyFans so she could gather her own money and manipulate another source of revenue for their partnership. They go and run to Vegas. Who doesn't like Vegas, right? But in Vegas, they go to get married and they live stream. And during the live stream marriage that she says is a sham, he goes and provides his vows to her. And his vows are saying, hey, if you cheat on me, you're going to pay me $10 million and I'm going to get 100% of all of your OnlyFans revenue. But if I cheat on you, you get nothing. So
a little hypocritical considering the fact she's an OnlyFans star.
Very hypocritical, number one. Number two, I don't even know if that's binding because, again, it's oral. It's not in writing. It's not a prenup. It's not a postnup. Because, again, to do a prenup, you want to make sure that nobody's under the influence of any drugs and nobody's under duress to sign something. People have had the right to have counsel to understand the terms of what's going on. And if I saw terms like this coming across my desk for one of my clients, I mean, it's blasphemy. I would say this does not hold up.
I think the main thing here is that everybody runs to Vegas. Everybody's heard stories or seen movies, what happens in Vegas, right? There's a contract. Everybody's drunk. Everybody's been partying. They all get married at the Elvis, gospel or Elvis church, whatever it is.
Chapel of Love, dude.
Yeah, the Chapel of Love, whatever it is. And are these marriages real? And will the marriage license, was there an actual signature of a marriage certificate? And can that translate back to whatever state you actually live in? And then are there binding terms to that marriage license?
So here they live in Florida. They're in Fort Lauderdale. They purchased the house together, or they live together in a house that's probably owned and purchased solely by Jack because it was $3.5 million. I don't know if she had enough money to contribute towards that, but I don't know otherwise. I'm speculating.
So something that's I think really interesting that we absolutely need to talk about with this, whether or not the marriage license is legit or not, I don't know. But the vows situation, the $10 million, you're not getting anything, and I get your entire OnlyFans, revenue if you cheat. There's a theory, they're not a theory, but there's a term of art in law called the statute of frauds, right? Which means certain types of contracts need to be in writing in order to be enforceable. They're all types of contracts. So, for example, you have a handshake deal to sell real estate for $500,000. Well, if the guy backs out at 2-3 weeks later, can't enforce it in court. Marriage-related type contracts are covered by the statute of frauds. So since this was oral only, I truly don't think it would be enforceable at all because of the statute of frauds, and it's not in writing.
Correct. And how much money did Miss Richardson contribute towards the house? And is that going to be considered equitable?
If anything.
Yeah, is that going to be considered equitably distributable upon a divorce, if there is a divorce?
With regard to divorce, if this marriage does hold up, you look at the equitable distribution aspect, whether it's considered to be marital property versus separate property, because again, in prenups, you like to put in what was considered to be separate property if they did a prenup here. Nothing suggests in these allegations that there is a prenup, so you want to tend to be to understand whether this property was intended to be for marital purposes, a marital home, because then there might be some aspect that she is entitled to for being a spouse.
What about common law marriage? Does that come into play?
That doesn't come into play in Florida.
What about if she uses the house as her business location? Does that give her any sort of strength to argue that that part of the house is hers?
For the marriage purposes and divorce purposes, I don't think so, but for tax purposes, I'm not a tax attorney, but I'm sure there's a write-off that she can probably use. The house is probably big enough where she could rent an office, I'm sure, out of one of the rooms.
Subscribe, click, tune in for the next time we talk about the
Jack Doherty.